Hi folks, and welcome to another painting video. Today I'll be painting a robin redbreast. So I have sprayed the background with a potter blue colour, and I'm just dabbing away the inside of the robin here just to take off the excess water. But I really like the marks that the spritzer spray has done here. So I'm just going to put a wee drop more paint, thicker paint in it, just to give a wee bit more contrast to the background. I'm just dabbing away some excess water there. But I do like painting robins, and it's one of the most enjoyable birds to paint because of the bright colours. Here you can see I'm using Potter's Blue, which is a SAA watercolour brand, and it's one of my favourite colours. I usually have it in most of my paintings in some sort of background, or it's great for highlights as well. So I'm just painting around the legs here just to like I say, is give a bit of a contrast when I paint in the legs. I'm just dabbing it away here just to make out the legs. Now I'm going to go around the outside of the robin, but I'm a bit concerned about having too much colour, so I'll take a wee bit of the colour off here. Just dabbing away. I don't want a full sort of line there, I want a sort of a broken sort of a effect. You know, I just don't want all blue all around the outside here. So I'm just carefully painting around the top of the head here, and I am fading it out there into the distance and trying to get that sort of random effect there. But yeah, I don't usually paint the backgrounds first. I usually paint the subject and then I do the backgrounds, but I was trying to be something a bit different here, and I must say I really enjoyed it, and I think I might do this more in the future. Adding a wee bit more paint there. There, just sort of dissipating it out. And I'm using a rigger brush here, which gives sort of more random brush effects. I really like the riggers for doing that. You know, it's more erratic. You know. And now I'm using a cobalt teal or cobalt turquoise colour here, and it really complements the Potter's Blue. When you add them together, it's they really blend well together, and you get a nice sort of a pleasant background there, as you can see. Just adding a wee bit more of the green there, spraying it as I don't want any hard edges, and just sort of dissipating it there. But yeah, really happy with the background so far, and it'll complement the colours of the robin once I start painting the robin itself. So I'm starting to paint the robin now, and I'm using a white gouache with a light touch of grey in it, just to get the base colour down, to get some paint on the actual bird. I'm just carefully just going around the edges here. And I'm thinking about what shade of brown that I'm going to do the bird in. Just working out where the white highlights are. I've put a wee bit more white in the paint there, as you can see, and just touching the sort of lighter shades of the bird. Just dabbing away there. And as you can see in the top right, I've sprayed a little bit of orange spatter effect there, just to give a wee bit more of a sort of it gives a wee sort of touch of of a sort of sparkle to the painting, and that's the colour that's going to be actually in the chest of the bird, so it sort of complements the subject. Just doing the feet now. I'm going to make these darker, but I was just wanting to get some paint down so that I can put layers on. I'm just being careful not to go outside the lines there. But yeah, I really do like painting robins, and it's a bit of an unusual time of the year to paint them. You know, you think robins about our Christmas birds, but like I says, I could paint them anytime. And they have character, robins, you know. When you see them in the gardens and stuff, you can see that they're tough little birds, you know. So this is a Naples yellow I'm using, which is a bit of a chalky coloured paint, but I quite like it. No, it's going to make the yellow part there pop once I put the orange and stuff in. So yeah, it'll give a nice blend to the robin's red breast, which is really the highlight of the painting itself, you know. I just don't want to make it all yellow, so I'm leaving some spaces blank there to put another colour in, you know, just to make it not uniform, you know, to give it a bit of character and stuff. So I'm just deciding what my next colour is going to be. And here we go. Oh no, I'm going to be using the Naples yellow again and just putting on the bit of the tail there. That's my new brush that I'm using. It's one of the SA brushes, and it's a 00, as you can see in the picture there. Really happy with these brushes. I've bought a lot of brushes over the years, but I have to say these SA brushes are really good. You know, they're well made. I like the way they feel in the hand. They've got a nice feel to them, and the actual brushes themselves really stand up well too. I do quite a bit of harsh sort of brush strokes sometimes, and yeah, they stand up well to it. So I'm using a dark brown here. Just putting a wee bit more water on it, and just trying to make sure that these lines really do show up the values of the tail. I don't want the tail just to be totally brown, and I'm putting a few details just right at the beginning here, just to try and get that contrast. As you know, paintings are all about tonal contrasts, about the values, and I'm using gouache here, where I think I should have used the ink tense, which is more permanent, you know, obviously it's ink. But what I usually do is I'll use watercolour as the base colours, and then I'll go in with ink tense to have that permanence, and it allows you to paint details. And then I go back in with watercolour and I'll put in some glazes. But for this painting I've used gouache, which in hindsight it runs a little, you know. It doesn't keep the lines sort of permanent, you know. It's permanent, like sharp details and stuff. So yeah, that was something I learned. I'm just painting the legs here just to try and get the shadows and the dark spots in them. Don't want to make the outer lines too heavy, or you'll have a heavy-legged robin. Just just trying to get the highlights there, and I'll put some lighter colours later on just to bring it back to the same level as the actual robin's body. But you can see the paint's already dried. That's one thing about gouache as well, it dries really quickly. And I'm just giving some detail there to the legs. As you can see, the legs are starting to come to life a wee bit there. Yeah. There's a fine line between putting too much paint on and too little, you know. It's something I struggle with myself. Usually I'll make my paintings too light and I'll have to go in with with paint or watercolour pencils just to bring the colours back up. But if you go to the extreme, you know, then you're taking paint off as well. So I'm taking my time on the legs here, just to try and get that detail, you know. So here I have started painting the robin's breast again, and I'm using a couple of colours. Watercolour I'm using raw sienna and burnt umber, and in gouache I'm using, as you see here, this is a scarlet red colour. It's a bit of an orangey red, which I really like. So I'm just putting it on here. I was trying to get the sort of feather effect here, just to highlight where all the reds are. And yeah, I'm still experimenting with gouache. It's a new medium for me, so there's a fine line between how much water you put in it and how little you put in it. But it's a really nice medium. I really enjoy it, and it complements watercolour really good. Like I says, I struggle. I sometimes make my watercolours a bit weak, putting too much water in it. But the beauty of working with gouache is it is an opaque medium, so the colours are really vibrant most of the time. So yeah, it's really nice medium that I'm enjoying using. So I'm just using the scarlet red here and trying to get that feather-like effect. Just looking at the picture that I have at the side, and here I am using a light grey in gouache again, just to try and get that feather-like effect, just to give the painting a bit more of a 3D effect. And yeah, the grey is really good for getting the tone in a painting, so I use it quite a bit. And you can add colour to it, so yeah, it adds another sort of dimension. Yeah, so here I'm trying to get the feather-like effect. Pretty happy with the way that the wings turned out here. Now I'm putting in a layer of watercolour pencils here, and this is burnt sienna, just to give it a more browny effect here. And I like the way that the pencils texture the paper. You know, it does add to the sort of pattern of the bird. You know, it gives that sort of feather-like effect on the head. So yeah, I always like to use watercolour pencils. just lightly doing a sort of glaze almost. You see I'm working in sort of circles here just to try and get that pattern. I don't want straight edges, just to lightly go over the paper. There we go. Working my way down. There we go. And just to make the feather-like effect, just to add a wee bit more to it there. And you see there, that line that I just made, it really makes the bird stand out from the background, you know, and the blue, the potter's blue, just adds a little bit of sparkle to the bird there. So I'm picking out my next colour, and it is cadmium red. And that's one thing about using pencils, they're really good for having wee delicate lines, or for, like I say, glazing. See? So I'm just sort of lightly glazing here, just to take off that edge that I had before. And like you say, you always want to make your paintings have a variation of colours, even if it's just a tiny wee painting like this. This is just a wee 6x8 painting, so you can't get a lot of fine detail in them, but what pencils allows you to do is to get a wee bit more detail. If you've got feathers or whiskers, they really add to a painting. So yeah, I use them all the time for stuff, you know. Like you see here, I'm using it to create the feathers. Now I'm back to painting again, using burnt umber, I think this is, and I've started getting more and more into the details now. So I'm painting like the more fine details on the head here, just to try and get that feather-like effect. This is one of my favourite brushes that I use. It is, let me just find it here. It is a Skoda. It's a number 10, I believe, Perla. And it really is a lovely brush, you know, for fine detail. This is my go-to brush for the finest of details. Synthetic brush. So just redefining, putting a bit stronger colour again. And I believe this is the Inktense I'm started to use. Just trying to get that feather-like effect on the robin's head there. Now I'm starting to build up detail in layers. That's a wee bit too strong there on the head, you know. Just having a look, assessing what I've done. Trying to pick out places where there's going to be a contrast. Like I says, paintings are all about contrast. That's what brings your painting to life. If you don't have it, it makes it look flat and sort of a little bit amateurish, you know. So always look out to try and get here we go. Putting in more detail, thicker paint. Heading back up to the top. Even a tiny painting like this, you want to take your time and add layer upon layer, because that's what makes the paintings better. You know, you can't rush a painting. Inktense is a medium that I found last year, and I have to say it really helped my art sort of career. It was one of these sort of aha moments where I knew I could use it in a sort of, I use it for like details, you know, like say, I like putting in the details either at the beginning or the end, and it doesn't fade or wash, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes with watercolour, when you're putting in details, it gets lost if you do glazes and stuff. It gives it a sort of blurry effect. But as you see here, there was a couple of standout feathers, and I'm using Inktense just to make sure that these will be seen in the final painting. And here's a wee tip: is don't just make an eye black. I usually use a purple or a blue as sort of wee highlights in it, and it really brings an eye to life. And I'm using a deep black here, and Inktense, you know, just to have that sort of a contrast again. I know I say contrast quite a bit, but this is what painting is all about. It's finding two shapes or two colours and making them work together. Usually in the beaks I'll use a purple, I believe. I'm just like I say, it always brings a object to life, you know, makes it more 3D effect if you just don't use black on its own. You know, try and get a couple of colours even in the darkest parts of a painting. I'm using a grey there. That's the gouache I was back into, and now, as you see, I'm using the potter's blue, back into the potter's blue, and it really did you see how it made that painting pop there? It really just adds that wee sparkle. Just trying to get a wee bit of detail here. I mean, this is we're really quite close up to the painting here, and this is fine line work, you know. Just taking my time here. But yeah, overall I'm happy with the way the paint's coming together. It's got the nice colours, and the detail is coming along very nicely. Just starting to put more feather-like effects in here. This is quite a dry brush I've got now. As you see, I'm sort of just taking the brush across the paper just to get that sort of effect. As you have a look in the eye now that it's dried, you see that blue that I put in really does make the eye pop. And what I will finish it off is a white highlight. I'll use white. I usually use white acrylic ink, as it's really it's a really nice white. So I'm just starting to think about putting a lighter, like I says. What I use here is white gouache. It's titanium white that I'll use. I'm just trying to get some more tiny feather-like effects in it here. As you see, it's a dry brush, and I'm just trying to get that feather-like effect, not trying to put too much in, but just enough to make that bottom part of the bird, to make it more rounded and more 3D. There we go. And then I'll go in with a glaze. I believe I use, if I get the pencil here, I'll use a Chinese white, the 7200, to bring the white up on that part of the bird later on. This is the icing on the cake for painters, you know, when you put in the highlights. This is what brings the painting to life. It's the most enjoyable part. And yeah, there's the Chinese white 7200. Every artist, I think, has the 7200 in their toolbox. As you see, it really does bring out that white, and it preserves the white gouache that I used to make the feathers, you know. And now I'm just starting to go round about the bird just to bring out highlights now, and it gives that nice texture effect as well. You have to be careful not to overdo it though, you know, just try and pick out wee bits and pieces. It brings the highlights out. There, I'm going onto the legs just a wee bit. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's overall. And you see the orange spatters in the background, how that also brings the background out, you know, gives the background a bit of life as well. So what I've done here is I've put a wee bit light grey into the gouache, the white gouache, just to dull it down a wee bit. There we go. It's all about building up a painting, you know. I really like that effect that I got there. It really added to the bird right next to this eye here. Now I'm building up the shadows. There's a shadow just under the wing there. It gives the wing a wee bit more of a sort of weighty effect, you know. See, it's like it sort of merges into the body of the bird just now. But later on you'll see, when I add the shadows, that it makes the wing sort of, it brings the wing forward a wee bit. Picking out the colour that I needed, having a look at your painting. Always look at your photo or your subject, you know, that's where you'll get the most information. Just take your time, have a look, and then decide which part of the painting you want to work on. I'm using a wee bit more. The yellow there, just to bring it out. There we go. Now I'm going to work on the legs, putting the final colour, and here I'm using a watercolour. It's called the Light Flesh pencil, so I thought it would maybe work quite well. So I'm just trying it out here, putting it in, and that will finish off the legs. So yeah, it's looking good. Okay, now I'm having a look at the painting, see what else I can do to it, you know. It's looking pretty good though. And if you look at the beak and the eye, well, here we go. I'm putting in the white highlight now. Just a couple of dabs. But the blue in the eye, and the beak in the eye, that really is the sort of the magic effect as well. Just going around the rim of the eye here. A couple of highlights in the beak. Just putting them in there. There was a couple of feathers I noticed in the photo that stood out, so I'm trying to work that in. There we go, little bits and pieces. Careful not to overdo it. Working away there just to try and get that. That was a wee bit dark in the head, so I thought I'd dab a wee bit just to lighten up the head a wee bit. There we go, little bits of dabbing. Now I'm thinking about that shadow. I don't know if you have any highlights. There we go, taking off the excess white on the brush there. There was a bit of blob on the end, so I wasn't wanting that to be in. Working away, and now you'll see with the white there, it'll bring the tail to life. There we go. Just a wee bit more. There we go. So now I'm working on the ground here, and I'm using a specialist brush. This is a 1/4 inch Zen Royal and Lange brush, and it's really good because of the way that the bristles are. It's really good for creating foliage and grass and stuff. And you see I'm just dabbing away here, putting a wee bit more green on the ground, just so that the bird just doesn't look like it's floating in mid-air. Using some browns here, earthy tones. Just trying to get that sort of dirt-like effect, you know. Dabbing away the excess, just to take it out. No, I'm not wanting it to be the paint to be too thick here. It's the bird that's the subject, and this is just wee bits and pieces. Here I've got the Potter's Blue again. I always love to use Potter's Blue. It really does, it's fantastic for highlights. It's my sort of magic paint, I call it. It just really adds to a painting. So yeah, coming to the end of the painting now, and this is where I'm just sort of looking and thinking what would add to it, you know. And the more that you spend time looking, it seems to be that the painting is finished, you know. If there's less that you can see that you can add to, then you're coming to the end of what you can do in the painting. Just trying to get that perspective effects, you know. You see that stroke that I did there, makes it look 3D now. There I'm going working sort of on a sort of invisible diagonal from bottom left to top right. You see it sort of makes the ground look like it's gone into the distance. So yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this painting. Please like and let me know if there's any paintings you would like me to do, you know, any subjects or anything. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.